person interested in football and soccer, it's highly likely you've seen or heard about Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso, a quirky, collegiate American football coach, was first introduced to us a few years ago in a few TV spoofs when NBC secured the broadcast rights to the English Premier League here in the US. In 2020, the unassuming, soccer-naive, comedic sketch character came to life in his own hit show. Hello everyone, this is Rev Brad, and you're listening to the Soccer Chaplains United podcast, From the Touchline. As a football chaplain of some 20 years, I thought I would share some lessons from Ted Lasso. Now, just a quick caveat. I've listened to a couple things about Ted Lasso, namely some of the influences and resemblances from John Wooden's coaching philosophy. I know about some of those things, but I've purposely stayed away from listening to too much of the commentary around the show, other than a Brene Brown podcast with show actors and producers Jason Sudeikis and Brendan Hunt. I don't want to over-spiritualize or idolize Ted Lasso, but I do want to offer a chaplain's view into some of the positive pieces from what we see on the screen that I believe are largely missing from the game and sorely, sorely needed. So whether you're an athlete, a coach, a staffer with a beautiful game, I think this series will be fun, creative, and have a little bit of everything for everyone around the game. One other note, I'm recording a bunch of these episodes so that during busy points in the MLS season, there can still be a weekly podcast even if I can't get a guest or have a particular topic. So if you're listening regularly, when you hear the Ted Lasso theme music at the start of the pod, you can go ahead and skip forward to the 2.5-minute mark and skip this intro and our typical podcast theme roll. Thank you for listening to the From the Touchline podcast. Here we go with a lesson from Ted Lasso.
Space, and he's found the back of the net.
Just a little off foot, thinking he's going to go far post. Not strong enough with his right hand.
Whips that one in. Far post, almost made him ends, and they have. He has the hat-trick. The second in his career. The third of the night. The hat-trick hero.
Talked about you're not going to be able to sustain that kind of pressure.
To the corner. Goes towards the near post, and you're the angle, and what a goal! What a goal!
It's probably the shortest clip in all of episode 1, literally 3 seconds worth, but it's one worth mentioning, and it's a lesson that I make a habit of, and I encourage others in this practice. At the very end of the show, we see Coach Lasso finally make it home after a long first day at the football club. He explores his new digs, the row home in town, and after a sampling from the welcome basket, Lasso opens up a drawer and takes folded clothes and places them inside. It's a minor lesson, but it's a lesson in mentality and mental health. I recall one year traveling with the club, the Colorado Rapids, the club I serve. I shared a room assignment with an assistant coach. We arrived at our East Coast opponent. We would be in town at this particular hotel for some 3 nights. So I proceeded to take my clothes out of my luggage and promptly put them into the drawers, folded and nicely kind of organized. The assistant coach, curious, asked me about it. Why take the time and effort to use the hotel drawers? We're going to be leaving in a few days anyway. I shared. The whole disadvantage of playing on the road is a mentality that you are not at home. If I can eliminate some of the places where that idea is fostered, maybe it can give me a different perspective. Maybe it can help me overcome some of that competitive disadvantage. Now, I'm the chaplain, I'm not a coach or player. But the coach had never considered things from that angle. And truthfully, as a football chaplain and a volunteer at that, is there ever a time and place where I might feel at home? I'm always a guest. I'm always never at home. But I find that the practice is part of a discipline which helps me to be more present and more aware of my surroundings, whether I'm there for 1 night or there for 10 nights. For Coach Lasso, he could have lived out of a suitcase, maybe not indefinitely, but certainly a little longer, and especially after the first day that he's had. A long transatlantic flight, poor performance at an under-pressure press conference, a simmering sense of rejection from the athletes in the locker room or maybe even the owner in the car park, and then a tough phone call with family to end the night. When I want to run from a situation, I make the short-term play. I live in a temporary or liminal space. But when I'm in for the long haul, I unpack the bags. I plan to stay a while. It's not just about unpacking bags on a trip. It's about how we approach our work, our calling, our family, our homes, and the other spaces of our lives. I know athletes and coaches that go out of their way to avoid getting to know their neighbors, They avoid going to church and getting plugged into the community because they feel like just when they get rooted and stuck in, the game's going to change for them and they'll have to go through the pain of pulling up and leaving anyway. Coaches that refuse to put the commemorative jersey or award on the walls because they're just not sure how long they'll be staying anyway. You know, if we follow Jesus, there is a sense in which the journey will have many moments that will have us moving in and out and moving up and on. In fact, Jesus once told someone who said they would follow him, he said, "Foxes have dens and birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." That's in Luke 9:58. Elsewhere in the Bible, Christian people are reminded of the temporariness of this life. Essentially, life on this earth is more like that of a refugee or a nomad. We're just here for a short time. So I'm not trying to contradict that reality. But there is something when we unpack our bags, there is a place where we can become more keenly aware of our present reality and the people around us. It's not about wrongfully holding on to some place, some person, or something. It's about not being afraid to give fully of ourselves to others and to the work God calls us to. So next time you hit the road, try it. Try unpacking your bags and staying a while, for as long as you're supposed to be there, and see if it doesn't help you be fully invested, fully present, fully in the moment. Well, thanks for listening to this lesson from Ted Lasso. This is Rev Brad coming to you from the Touchline.